Hello, Hannah. Nice to see you. We've had brief conversations on the phone, haven't we, about what it is that you do. But would you like to explain to everybody listening what your business is?
So I'm a grief coach and I'm also a funeral celebrant.
That's right.
I do often refer to myself as a professional goth because I basically spend all of my time talking about dead people. But in a nice way. As a funeral celebrant, I get to hear the best of people.
Yeah.
And helping people to get not past their grief, but past the hurdles that their grief is causing for them.
Yeah.
It's a really positive role. So even though it's something that's steeped in a lot of sadness, for me, it's a very positive place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've had a little look, obviously, through your website and your socials and all those sorts of things. And one of the things that I came across was quotes that you'd put on about grief. And one which really struck me, because it resonated with me about, obviously, because I lost my dad 3 years ago, was grief is not a wave, it's the ocean, or something along those lines. And it's so true, isn't it?
Yeah, so everyone often talks about grief being waves and you've just got to learn to ride them and they ebb and flow. And I was like, it's not. I was like, it's the whole ocean, and the waves are the peaks, and the waves are the crashes. They're the peaks that you see of it. But you are living in the whole moment of it all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, you don't come up for air with grief. And there is no cure for grief.
No.
It's just how we can learn to not have it inhibit our lives.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is just talking about the inevitability of death and how our grief is showing up for us there and then that day.
Yeah. And a conversation that we had, and something that's come up on when I've been doing interviews on here, is grief before somebody's died.
Yes.
So
now I'm going to have to try and say a word that I'm not great
I can't
at
say
saying.
it either. Anticipatory.
Anticipatory grief.
Yeah.
Yeah. In one. Normally that takes me about 3 goes. And it's that idea of sort of pre-grief that you start grieving the person, and especially with your work in healthcare, like in care towards end of life, you're losing a person. So as they're losing their faculties, their memories, you are already losing that person. And then you're going to lose them again. Yeah. But it's knowing that that's coming and the hardship that that's facing. But you're also, there's a lot of guilt and shame that goes with anticipatory grief, because people feel like, oh, I should be thankful that they're alive. And I was like, but how you're feeling is how you're feeling. Yeah. There's nothing you can do about that. It's a very real and can be a very debilitating type of grief.
Yeah, yeah. I personally definitely suffered that. I can remember many times driving home from my dad's house in floods of tears, because I knew what was going to happen next because of my background. I knew the signs, and there's just this person you can see in front of you who's once been this, your parents are your everything, aren't they? And to see them sort of crumble before you is horrendous,
Yeah. And for most people, your parents have always been there. Yeah. So there's no age where it's okay to lose a parent. Yeah. So I was 30 when my mum died. I had a friend who's, she'll be nearly double my age when her mum died. And she was sort of apologising to me. And I was like, no. It's like, because your entire life has had your mum in it. Yeah. There has never been a moment where your mum wasn't around. Yeah. Even if she wasn't fully present, she was there in some respect. So your siblings and your parents, there wasn't a world without them. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas your friends, your partner, there was a person beforehand. You can remember what it was like before you met that person.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's the big difference in that familial grief, even though you know it's happening. And one of my clients was talking about how they thought it should be easier because obviously it happens. Your parents are meant to die before you. And I was like, how is it easy for your whole worldview to suddenly change? Yeah. Yeah. And then you've got to, get your kid to school and go to work
and carry on with everything else.
Do the bills and all the rest of it. But inside you're like, the world has fundamentally changed
Yeah.
because this person's died.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So yeah, there is no age, and that idea of, I also spoke to someone recently about the concept of a good death, and there's a lot of talk about that with sort of death doulas and things, but my dad jokes that my mum died right.
Okay.
Because we knew she was terminal. We were told 1 to 2 years, and she died within 6 months.
Oh gosh.
But she didn't suffer for
No.
very long.
Yeah.
She was a bit uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but she'd also had a bad back for all of her life, so she was always mildly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But she only really suffered for about a week, and she was under great care in the Marie Curie Hospice in Woolton. So we couldn't have asked for anything better, but we were prepared, but we weren't having to sit with someone we really cared about who was suffering for a great length of time.
Yeah.
Whereas had she lived for, say, that full year, 6 months of that, she would have been in pain and suffering,
Struggling.
not able to do the things she wanted to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so, but I was like, well, we got the little bit of preparation. So it wasn't a shock. We didn't have that trauma of an unexpected death. But we also didn't have it dragged out and prolonged.
Yeah.
And my mum didn't suffer, and we didn't have to witness that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's always like, if you're going to do it, he was like, do it right.
Yeah.
But obviously, for the person, he always says the best way to go is in your sleep, but it's
And you don't know.
it's not
anything
great
about
for the
it.
person that
No.
wakes you, well, tries to wake you up the next day, is it? So there isn't, yeah, the idea of a good death is very dependent on where you are in the scenario. Are you the person that's dying or the person that's bereaved?
Yeah. Something we try and do with our clients in home care, and it's always a difficult conversation to enter into with them because they don't want to think about it, is what they would like, what their wishes are. And some people, my mum is really, she wants to put everything down on what she wants. And some people are like that, but some people just do not want to talk about it at all, do they?
No.
But you've done something, haven't you, to try and...
So my work as a funeral celebrant, I would often ask people questions. So all I do is ask questions. And one of the most common answers I would get would be, oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Do you want prayers? Oh, I don't know.
Don't know what, yeah.
Do you know what songs you want or things like that? And people also think about funeral planning as literally just 3 songs. So it's that idea of all these questions that you can't ask the person that you want to ask anymore.
Yeah.
So I wrote a book about it.
Okay.
And the book is, it's an end-of-life planner, which sounds very morbid, but it's somewhere that you can put down your wishes, so that you can explain to your family, your friends, whoever it is that's going to be left behind, and answer the questions that you can't answer anymore.
Yeah.
And it's got 5 sections. So there's a sort of your final days, so how you'd like to be cared for. Mm-hmm. I, for instance, have said, so I have 9 nephews and nieces.
Okay.
And
Gosh, that's a lot.
9 nephews and nieces. I have a partner and I have 4 siblings.
Okay.
So I'm like, right, if you put me in a care home and you all visit me once every 2 weeks, I get a visitor every day.
Yeah.
Sound. I was like, I don't want to be a burden to any of your families by having to move in with you. Mm-hmm. So I'm quite happy to, I was like, send me to a fun care home.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Somewhere where we're still
play rock music and
where we're still playing on Instagram and stuff like that, even though it's not existed for 30 years. I was like, but I personally don't want to be a burden. Other people have a great fear of care homes.
Yeah.
And they always want to stay at home.
Yeah.
My mum was very much that. She wanted to be at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I've written that down in mine.
Okay.
So
And this is what we've got here,
yeah,
isn't it?
This is not my version because my version is full of Post-its and mess. But it's got how you want to be cared for, any medication you take.
Yeah.
So, and how often you're meant to take it, things like that. And
Okay.
this book is designed to get messy.
Okay.
So even though it looks nice and pristine, now it's designed to be full of Tipp-Ex, Post-its, crossings out as your life changes and evolves.
Yeah.
There's then your financials, which also includes like social media, what your passwords are. It's I went on a bit of an F theme, and there wasn't one for passwords.
Okay.
But it's all of that, like
In some people's language there might be.
So there's all of that, like the nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah.
Then there's funeral planning. There's farewells, and there's a future without you. So the
Oh,
farewells gives you space to either write letters in the book, or you can tuck them in, sellotape them in, put them in sealed letters to people if you want to. And the funeral planning takes you through all of the, do you want burial or cremation? Would you like to be visited after your death? Because I personally wouldn't.
No.
And I'd like a green burial.
Okay. Yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah.
So again, that's written down. Most people know that that's what I'd want. But it's there in black and white, or blue and white, or pink, or green, or whatever pen I've had to use that day. I've had a lot of stationery. And all of that information is then there for people.
Okay,
if you've got a funeral plan, it's there.
Yeah.
If your will's registered somewhere,
You write it in the book.
yeah, and then you know which solicitor you're knocking on the door of without having to rummage through things, because we are in an increasingly digital age. I know where my dad's will is because it's in a drawer that's full of every document pertaining to his life. Those documents don't exist for my generation.
Exactly.
Bank statements are online.
Yeah.
So unless you've got their physical bank card, how do you know which bank someone's with?
Yeah. And how do you get into the system to get access to it?
And, you don't have to say, like it I know I've mentioned passwords in it, but it can, writing down your passwords can even be a case of they're in blah, blah, blah. They're not here. They're somewhere else, but it gives you a place to go look for them.
Yeah.
And with the bank accounts, it's a case of saying, like, I have this bank account, so tell the bank that this exists. Not enough information for you to access the bank account.
Yeah.
But enough that you can
Yeah.
deal with it. You're closing things.
Something I found funny, and this is whilst my dad was still alive, actually. So he had Parkinson's, and he did deteriorate after COVID quite significantly. But he was an electrician, and so he used to still do jobs for me. So at this point in time, I was having my bedroom done, and was having fitted wardrobes put in place. So I had somebody doing that, and my dad was there doing all the wiring. And I knew the guys that were fitting the wardrobes. And they had a conversation with me, and they're like, "Oh, your dad's lovely, this, that, and the other. He swears like a trooper, though." And that completely floored me, because I'd never heard my dad swear, ever. My dad
was work.
Yes,
Like
dad was in that.
dad.
He was so different to how he was in front of me. And so my dad was very much good manners. He'd been brought up. He was very strict parent, your knife and fork down here, and sit up straight, and don't talk at the tables, and probably a little bit too much. But that was his upbringing.
Yeah.
To then hear that when he was with the workies on site, he was just this different person, and it completely floored me. And that's one of those things, you hear other stories about something, and you think, gosh, I just didn't know.
Like I had a odd moment with that. It wasn't, no one had died, but my dad was a teacher, and when he left his school, somebody had made, well, the school closed, but
When somebody made a Mr. Todd Appreciation Society on Facebook, and I don't know how we found it, but it was the most fun to read these stories from school kids about Mr. Todd.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, I can see that happening. I can see that happening. I can see that happening. We were like, what? And he was like, he'd thrown the chalk rubber at a student.
We
And I
used,
was
we used to have a teacher like that, but his name wasn't Mr.
he
Todd.
didn't do it on the regular, but everyone's like, do you remember the one time we didn't talk for months? Like, everyone was so behaved. There was talking about the time that he'd get things wrong. And I'm like, he got things wrong?
Yeah.
Because he was infallible to me.
Yeah.
He was my dad. Even as a teenager, I was like, one of the mistakes he made, he had a room behind, so he had a whiteboard, and the stock room was behind it. And apparently on the first day of him having this whiteboard that replaced the previous chalkboard, he wrote on it in permanent marker instead of whiteboard. And
We've all done that at some point.
apparently he went into the room shut the door and made a noise like a weasel getting strangled. And I was like, yep, I've heard that noise. I've heard that noise when he's crashed the car. And it's that moment of like hearing those other stories that you don't hear, and how people get to stories because someone else says something, then somebody else says something, then someone else says, oh, that reminds me of this. And people walk past, hear the odd bit of a story and go, did you know he'd been to blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
And then it starts a chain reaction. So it's that gathering that I think is most important.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
As at your actual funeral, it is important. But it's the gathering, it's the people in the room that I personally think is the most important thing.
Hugely, yeah. And the people that actually you might have seen for years, but...
And for family, like, I think there's quite a common thing that people don't want to be a burden. Mm-hmm. So the idea of direct cremations, of smaller things, just put me in a box, burn me in the backyard, all of those comments, just throw me off the ferry. All of those like little throwaway comments, you're minimizing the impact that you're going to have. But for the people you leave behind, they want the horse-drawn carriages.
Yeah, exactly.
They want the 20 cars. They want all of the flowers because someone they love is no longer in this world. Yeah. And they want to mark that.
Yeah, and celebrate them. Yeah.
So there's a very big divide between what the person who's dying often wants, which is small, and what the other people need.
Yeah.
So if you are thinking of going for a direct cremation, just have a chat with your family about it.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, my mum and dad's will both said simple, no fuss, like no frills, funeral, and that's fine. We did the food for my mum.
Gosh.
Not me. It was all my brothers. Okay. They're the chefs in the family. But my brothers did the food. We did the flowers that morning from my mum's garden, because she didn't... My dad found out the price of the letters and was like, nope. And he didn't want artificial ones.
Yeah.
Though the artificial ones, one, are getting better. And there's a few... Florists now do a lovely like rental scheme with artificial flowers.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it?
So that you can have that moment, because really no one's getting up close.
One of the things that, it doesn't make me angry, but it's when you see the amount of flowers. In a way, it's comforting that people like to express their sympathy in that way, but so many flowers, and you think they're just going to sit there and they're just going to die. So one thing we did... we did donate them, and I can't remember where we put them now, but we put the flowers somewhere, and I don't know if they went back into the church. I think we donated them to go into the church, so they got use of them rather than just sitting. And
so I know one funeral director in West Derby. She is changing the world.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yes, yeah.
Hayley is amazing, and she will take the flowers back to her office. And she bundles them up and turns them into little bouquets, and then she'll appear at the wake for the family.
Oh, she's lovely, isn't she?
So that they're not wasted.
Yeah.
You have that moment, and you have that little something. And I've said to people before, and I was like, you can take them. And I was like, then just tell people to just take one flower out of there.
Yeah.
And if everyone does that, you're not left with this big thing, but everyone's got this
something
little
to
moment.
take away with them, yeah.
Like this little something to sit in their house for as long as that flower's going to last, and remember that person.
Yeah.
I also did a funeral where the family also didn't like the idea of the waste of flowers, but this lady had loved her garden.
Oh.
So they spoke to a florist about making, it was a sort of like a deconstructed spray, in a sense, in that it was in a lovely basket, but you could take them away, and they were all in soil.
Oh, wow.
So they were all...
So you can plant them.
Like, so you could take each of the things. So it was a lovely basket on top of the coffin, looked beautiful, and then at the wake, everybody could take a little bit and plant it in their garden and have a little bit of
How
her
lovely
memory.
Is that? How lovely.
It was like a pre-done version of like a lot of times people have like forget-me-not seeds and things like that. Or
So we see that a
wildflower.
lot with the dementia. So,
Yeah.
you know, they'll give away forget-me-not seeds and that to people who come to the wake. That's really lovely. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's nice to have that little moment because it's just thinking of them.
yeah.
So I've done the same with my nan-in-law's grave, which I need to go check on. That just checking it with the flowers, and I plant flowers on her grave rather than leave cut flowers.
Yeah. They just don't last, do they? No.
And to be fair, I don't have a green finger in me. So they don't last too long there either. I go for hardy things like heather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things that are designed to be left alone.
So maybe you could, so you've obviously done a lot of funerals over the years. How long have you been doing this?
Just coming up to 2.
2 years, yeah. Can you think of the most unusual thing you've been asked to do? Or something that really stood out to you?
I'm now like, oh, some of them involve swearing.
That's okay.
I'm like, oh. So one of the, I've had one family in all this time ask for colour at the funeral. And that was probably the most stressful going to getting ready because, you know, I've got my script and I know what I'm saying. I write the service from beginning to end. I don't, you know, it isn't just I slot the eulogy in a book and pray I get the right name. Everything is written just for that person. So I'm prepared.
Yeah.
But they'd asked for colour and I was in a yellow dress. And I knew that I had about a minute to bolt if nobody else turned up in colour. To bolt through the back of Anfield Crematorium into their office and throw on a black dress and then walk back through the front. Because I was like, if they have led me up the garden path with this, I'm going to look really insensitive because it was a very yellow dress.
Yeah.
But they were like, we want colour. We want.
That's what they want. Yeah.
And true to their word, everybody turned up
That's
in
lovely.
a footy shirt of some description.
Yeah.
So he was from Liverpool, supported Tranmere because he said it was easier to get tickets. So his entire family then ended up supporting Tranmere. But everyone just came and everyone was just wearing random football tops because that was the most colourful thing most people had. And he loved his footy.
And he was his footy, yeah.
So it wasn't just a sea of red and blue. There was all sorts of things like international shirts and things like that. And it was lovely to see that because a lot of people say it. It's the first time I've ever seen it happen. I've actually been a part of it happening.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it? Yeah. Like, and it is this thing, isn't it, of everyone wearing black and...
Yeah. Mm. And it's a sign of respect that most people do it. So it's smart. Mm. But, I mean, I've also seen workies slide in their high-vis in the back of services because they want to be there, but they don't want to look. They don't want to be a distraction or anything like that. But they've stopped their shift or taken their lunch break to come to that service.
Yeah.
And then they'll head back. So obviously they're not going to get changed.
No.
They're covered with plaster. And they're often people that have worked with these fellas.
And it's more important that they're there, not what they're wearing, isn't it?
Yes. 100% it is more important that they're there. I'm trying to think of like weird things. I once gave a grieving family a packet of Watsits afterwards. And that was because they were talking about he'd go to the pub and he'd go to the shop on his way home. And he would often come back and he'd have his Watsits. And then he'd fall asleep and his hand would drop and the dog would lick the
wrapper.
The fluff off his fingers. The flavour off his fingers. And I was like, oh my God, like in Toy Story 2. So I had this very clear image. I'm telling this story and I'm at the lectern. I tell this story. And then afterwards, I go up to her and I was like, I'm standing there and I've got my book and I look very serious and I just hand her a packet of Watsits, his daughter, and she nearly died laughing. immediately runs over to tell her mum this packet of Watsits did the rounds outside the creme. And she was like, that's just so funny. Why did you do that? I was like, because I couldn't stop thinking about your dad and Watsits all week.
Yeah.
It's all I've been thinking about is that story and that moment that made him so very real to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, most of the time people do play it safe. I wish I had more weird and wonderful stories, and I hope that they come with time.
We had a conversation about the fact that I think in a lot of professions, yours can be seen as a sort of like very serious, dark profession. And then in my profession, obviously you want to be professional and all those things. But it's also a highly stressful environment. So one of the ways that we cope with that is we do have quite a dark sense of humour. And, you know, we will laugh and joke over things that, you know, are a bit tongue in cheek, but it's what gets you through the day. And I noticed that one of the things that you do, so you've got a membership, haven't you, Hannah? Yeah. And one of the things you will do is what?
I'll send people inappropriate memes for $5 a month.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
It comes free if you're just my mate. That just comes for free. But yeah, I also I have badges for Dead Mums Club, Dead Dads Club, and Adult Orphan Club. Because it's like when my mum died, I worked in hospitality, and then I had to go to like work on Mother's Day and things like that. And I had a very stressful Mother's Day where it was just trying to get everything ready. We're doing afternoon tea boxes because we were coming out of COVID, and it's very stressful. Everyone's trying to pick things up, and obviously everyone's like, you're ruining my Mother's Day. And I'm literally building these boxes with tears just streaming down my face going, you think you're having a bad day?
Yeah.
And my team were wonderful because they were like, just keep working, but don't look at a single customer. They hid me away. They were brilliant. And you've got to find those moments.
You've got to, haven't you? Otherwise you just wouldn't
And
get
a lot
through
of,
it.
like, what was it that somebody said? So he'd not long found out he was terminal, this gentleman. And he found out he was terminal, and he asked one of his kids to go shopping for him. And he said, like, oh, blah, blah, there's bags for life in the cupboard. And he went, oh, but check whose bags for life they are, because if it's mine, it might not last long enough to get you to the shops. And they told me this story, sip of tea, and I was like, what? I was like, well, that's going in the service. And they were like, oh, no, it can't. I went, is that what he was like? And they were like, yeah.
Needs to go
and
in.
I've now just thought, so with his service, when I think of like, because I wasn't asked to do it, but they did it. So they changed, he had requested his final song to be Firestarter by Prodigy. And they went, no. So they changed it to Afro Man because I got high.
Oh, gosh.
So I was like, I didn't think we could go down from there, guys, from Firestarter and Inappropriate. We had Afro Man because I got high, and everybody was creased up. So everybody left his service with a massive smile on their face, knowing that that was the perfect song for him, how funny it was, and that was the best thing.
Yeah.
So I often say to people, I was like, oh no, you have your emotional one at the beginning.
You finish on
because
the high.
somebody had said like they wanted a silly song like at the start, and I was like, silly songs at the end because I can lay the groundwork.
Yeah.
I was like, but you don't know how people are coming to feel to that service. So somebody did want a granddaughter was saying like, no, we should have Hi Ho on the way in, and I was like, I'll do it. I was like, way out will make a lot more sense to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, just having that something that just absolutely makes people smile. So my service, I've said in my book, I want my partner can pick a song, my family can pick a song, but the song in the middle has to be Rainbow Connection, sung by the Muppets from the Muppet movie. I don't want a cover. I want Kermit the Frog singing that song, because I want everyone to just be like, is that Kermit the Frog? I was like, yes, 100% it is.
Yeah, because that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love the Muppets. I love that song. I love that sentiment.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect song.
Yeah.
But I don't want it sung professionally. I want it sung by a green frog with ping pong for eyes. Ping pong balls for eyes. So it's having those moments, and like when people say like, oh, we can't do that, oh, we can't tell that story, and I'm like, is it true to who they were? Is anyone going to be upset or offended by this story? And they were like, no. And I was like, then, funerals are often filtered. So people sometimes struggle with, oh, well, he wasn't the best person, he didn't, and I'm like, we filter it, we don't lie.
Yeah.
But tell me the good stories and I'll tell them.
Yeah.
And I was like, and sometimes acknowledging that people aren't perfect is what everyone wants to hear.
Exactly. Yeah.
Were they fundamentally a good person? Did they try and overcome their demons? Did they go through hard times? Yeah, let's talk about them.
Yeah,
It's okay to talk about them.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
But I'll end on a high.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, send them out on a
Yeah.
high. Oh, Hannah, that's brilliant. Where can people find you and your work? Where can you find you?
So I am... when you have to think. So my website is thelifeafter.co.uk. And you can find me on Instagram and socials under hannah.lifeafter. And from there, you can then obviously find all the other things.
And your book, the Legacy Book?
The book is available through the legacybook.co.uk.
Fabulous.
There's me going, is it a .com? I'll send you links.
Okay.
It's terrible, isn't it? But there are also links to that through my Instagram and through The Life After.
Amazing. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Cheers.